Visual novels are some of the oldest form of video games. They usually have very simple gameplay but offer some interesting and deep stories in a variety of genres. Today I'm going to talk to you about a horror visual novel that, despite its traditional gameplay, offers a complex story with some incredible atmosphere, voice acting, and a strong message. Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy, and this is my non-spoiler review for Saint Maker for PC on Steam. The game is also available on the Nintendo Switch, and considering this is a visual novel, you can apply this review as well. The game was developed and published by Yang Yang Mobile. Saint Maker follows the story of Holly Beltran, who during the summer gets sent to Saint Idelora's convent to participate of the recollection through which she will become a proper child of God. There she meets another girl named Gabriela, and they are both being instructed by Sister Adira. Weird and eerie things start to happen at the convent, hinting that there's something darker and more sinister happening there. This game tackles some very complex and heavy themes and does so excellently. Some of the themes that they tackle are child abuse or violence against children, religious abuse, homophobia, trauma, and discussions of suicide and death. The game has a very strong critique and message that really comes through by the end. So let's talk about the visuals of the game. In terms of the visuals, this game features some beautifully hand-drawn art in the form of character portraits, backgrounds, and CG images. What distinguishes the art style of this game is the moving elements that are integrated throughout. Characters move their mouths when talking. They move as if they were breathing, and the backgrounds have elements like flying birds or moving dust particles that make every scene feel alive and dynamic. In terms of the performance and PC requirements of this game, I won't bother pointing them out because this is a visual novel. So basically, it ran very stable and any PC can run this game. So let's talk about the music. This game features some atmospheric music and sound effects that perfectly convey the setting and themes of the game. You get a mix of eerie, creepy music that generates an atmosphere of uneasiness, and solemn religious music that reminds us of the religious themes and setting they are exploring.
Lovely, isn't she? Wholesome, pure, chaste. The face of a saint if I ever saw one. There's no second guessing, no desperate search for her place in the world. She is content to know that she is exactly where God wants her to be. However, sadly, this is not always the case. The world is moving so fast these days, people coming up with all sorts of answers to their problems. So many opportunities are now open to bright young women such as yourselves. You can be anything.
So let's talk about the gameplay. Saint Maker is a horror visual novel. In terms of the gameplay, it offers the standard visual novel gameplay where you choose answers for different moments of the game. Your choices have consequences, but in the case of this game, they are limited because Saint Maker only features one ending. Saint Maker takes around 7 hours to complete. So let's talk about the cons and the pros of this game. Let's start out with the cons. I have 3 things that I would like to point out. My first critique is that there were not enough CG images to illustrate important scenes in the game where some sort of fight or action was being taken. This leaves some moments in the game feeling awkward because you only see the character portrait standing there and have to infer what is happening based on what they are saying and the sound effects. Secondly, story pacing and game length. From my perspective, the game could have been shorter. I feel like it overstays its welcome and drags out too much the build-up. I feel like 3/4 of the game are dedicated to the build-up, and the last fourth of the game is dedicated to the full-blown horror section. But there is an important thing to point out, which leads to my third critique. They didn't explore or give enough spotlight to the supernatural horror elements of the story. The horror elements of this game are very intriguing, eerie, and visually disturbing. Sadly, they do a lot of build-up, but by the end of the game, you barely spend any time exploring the supernatural aspect of the horror that the game presents. Instead, there's a lot of focus in the suffering of the characters and the more grounded aspects of the theme it's exploring. So let's talk about the pros of this game. First of all, the visuals. The art in this game looks beautiful and it feels alive and dynamic. Characters look like they are breathing, their mouths move when they're talking, and the environment has moving elements that make it look as if it was a scene from a movie or an anime instead of a still picture. Secondly, the game has some excellent writing. The game handles some difficult and heavy themes in its story, and does so in a careful and nuanced way. The characters have depth and are well written, and the outstanding voice acting brings it all together. And last but not least, the atmosphere. The music and sound design of this game creates some incredible atmosphere, especially during the horror scenes where you are gonna feel uncomfortable and uneasy. So in conclusion, Saint Maker is without a doubt a high production value visual novel. Even though it has some story pacing issues, it's longer than it needed to be, and needed more CG scenes to better illustrate events of the story, it still manages to deliver a memorable game that is worth checking out. Its beautiful art style, excellent writing, excellent voice acting, and atmosphere all interweave, giving life to a compelling story with a strong message against religious abuse and ultra-conservative religious practices, and its consequences on mental health and social relationships, among many other themes. For this reason, I recommend Saint Maker. So that's going to be it for my non-spoiler review. I'm going to leave a link to the Steam page and the eShop page down in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
What was that? I told you to stop. That wasn't me.
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.